GamingFreak.com. Hello! Welcome back. Nice to have you here. Settle down, let's cozy in. So today we're talking about equipment balancing in Uprising 1.8 and cloaking. So this is what was in the most recent dev blog, which they released today actually, or this evening. It goes over the logistics bonuses, so 5% reduction to power grid and CPU cost of equipment, which I think will be quite important. But they've seriously defined the roles of all the logis, kind of beyond the point of being a logi in many respects, like an all-round logi as logis tend to be. Caldari will have plus 10% to nanohive max nanites and 5% to supply rate and repair amount per level of the nanohives. This is important because all nanohives are having the nanite supply reduced, so they're going to be very useful in that respect. It'll probably bring it up to current levels if you do that. You then got the Galente logistics, plus 10% to active scanner visibility duration and plus 5% to active 5% to active scanner precision per level. So at the top level with a maxed out scanner, that's going to be a pretty annoying suit to have on the enemy team, even for scouts. Minmatar logistics bonus, this is the one I like the most, personally, but I won't be training Minmatar logistics yet. Plus 10% to repair tool range and plus 5% to repair amount per level. So that'll still make the core focused rep tool pretty decent, or the ones where you can have 2 targets will be really nice with that suit. And the Amar logistics, 10% reduction to drop uplink spawn time and plus 2% max spawn count per level. So why is this important? Well, all equipment is getting a nerf basically. So to summarize it quickly for you, I'll leave the link in the description so you can actually go through and see the stats that they've put out. But the cooldown times on active scanners have been increased. Scanner functionality has also been improved to do a snapshot. Snapshot scans in order to stop what they've called scannerinas from doing 360-degree spins. The range on repair tools has been reduced, so that's why the skilling into the Minmatar logi is important. Drop uplink spawn times have been increased, so that's why the Amar logi now becomes important. Nanohive nanite supply, as I previously mentioned, has been reduced, which is why the Caldari logi becomes important. So yeah, that summarizes those changes there. It's quite a lot of Excel spreadsheets, and if you're into that sort of thing, you'll find it in the link in the description below. And otherwise, you've got cloaking. Now, cloaking is also coming in 1.8, so the equipment's going to be a big change. All the new suits coming is going to be, quite a few changes, new playstyles, increased time to kill. It's a lot of things actually when you think about it coming to 1.8. A lot of different variables that are going to make it hard to judge if something's wrong, which part is wrong, because there's going to be so many variables. It's going to be going to probably take a bit of time to work that out, unless it's glaringly obvious. So cloaking, like they've said, is most controversial of all features being added in 1.8. But it's quite accurate with regards to how the Eve lore is. I mean, there's cloaking in Eve that was introduced, and it works really well in Eve. It could easily be overpowered in Dust, but I'll include some images in the video as well. So there's a few important things as to how the cloak works. The cloak field is a piece of equipment, so if you're going to use it, it'll take an equipment slot. I think that's the main reason they gave scouts an extra equipment slot, just so they can use that and something else, which makes complete sense in my opinion. So when the cloak field is selected, the core text is raised and you press fire to activate it. So basically you select it and click fire. Once activated, it remains on screen, and if you switch to any other equipment, weapon, or if you throw a grenade, it will deactivate the cloak. So the amount of cloak shimmer is increased as you move. So when you stand still, you'll be invisible, but when you move, you'll be noticeable, but to an extent. While cloaked, you will have no chevron or health bars, but the enemy reticule will flash red if you run past it. So the concern with this point for me and for other court members was that aim assist, or auto aim as I like to call it, would probably move when a scout runs past in a cloak. And if there's any devs watching this or anything, it'd be cool if you could clarify that factor, because if aim assist does that, that's a bit, that's not right, in my opinion. I think if it does that, I can understand it going red, for whatever reason, that's fine. But if the aim assist does take over, I think that's wrong. So the cloak can, when in use, the cloak's field energy depletes slowly over time. So it'll get, maybe you'll be slightly less cloaked towards the end of using the cloak. It won't be like a sudden shift, I'm guessing, between cloaked and non-cloaked. The cloak can manually be deactivated by pressing fire or switching to a different piece of equipment or a weapon, or throwing a grenade as previously mentioned. You cannot reactivate the cloak unless you have at least 50% charge. This is quite important because I feel that this is a step towards capacitor, in that they're thinking, okay, you can't activate a module unless you've got a certain amount of kind of juice to use, basically. This is the way EVE works. In EVE you have a capacitor of your ship, and if you activate, for example, an armor repairer, which are not on permanently, you have to activate them, and if you activate it, it uses capacitor. There's a type of E-War in EVE called neutralizing or neuting, I think it's as they call it. If I remember correctly, I haven't played since Dusk came out. Bit guilty there. But it's that sucks out the capacitor basically, or neutralizes the capacitor. And I think this will be an important part because that's a very Amarian thing. And so I feel that you cannot reactivate the cloak unless you have at least 50% charge, is a kind of step towards getting people used to that frame of mind of, okay, you need X amount before you can activate, whichever module you want to use. Here's another thing, is a lot of people, including us, we were theorizing about fitting 2 cloaks. So CCP have said you can only fit 1 cloak field at a time, which is, they know the Dust community quite well now. But one thing that's quite interesting, you do not decloak when hacking an objective or vehicle. You do not decloak when jumping or falling, which is quite cool. But if you are hacking an objective, you probably give your position away. A vehicle is a bit less likely. If you're shot whilst cloaked, the hit effects will still be displayed. When cloaking and decloaking, noticeable visual effects are played as well. So what I'm going to do now is put some of the images over the gameplay. So you can see here, this is the cloak when you're standing still, from a third-person view. And then let's say you start moving from that and you're in a full sprint, this is how a third person would see you. But don't forget, this is a really close-up shot, so it might be harder to see in actual combat. This is again, fully cloaked view from the first person, and a fully cloaked view from the full sprint. There's also a GIF or GIF or however you want to say it, on the link in the description below. I'll try and include it in the video, but this will be the first time I've done it. But if it's not here, you'll see it you'll be able to click on the link in the description below, and right at the bottom you'll be able to find the GIF/GIF. So it's pretty cool animation. Looks pretty cool. And yeah. So what do you guys think? Do you think the cloak is going to be underpowered? I've had some people saying they think it's a bit underpowered with the shimmer effect, but we have yet to see it. See how it looks, when it's actually being used properly in battle. It'll be an interesting thing to see. I think if it is underpowered, I don't blame CCP for being really careful with introducing this. They have had a bit of a depletion in their membership base, so of course they don't want to antagonize the members as well. And so even if it's not balanced, if it is underpowered, scouts still have 2 equipment slots. There's a lot of drop suits, there's a lot of changes. So let me know what you guys think. Please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe. It really helps. I really appreciate it. Lets me know that you guys are still enjoying the series. And let me know your views. What do you think? How are you going to use the cloak? Other than going invisible, obviously. But how are you going to use it? Thanks, guys. Bye.